Yeah, there you go. We are now recording, so you can stop talking about Leo.
Well, you're the one talking about him now. I was done.
I see.
Hey, they spelled Mercury wrong on that.
Did they?
Though I guess it's the name of their company, so they could spell it however they like.
This is true.
Mercury doesn't usually have a K in it.
Nope, not usually. But then we bought this at Target, didn't we? Or didn't I?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I like it because it has little hooves.
Yes, we've established that. Who are we?
You mean the name of the show? Oh, you gave me this so that I would know who we are?
Exactly. You seem to be stumbling and trying to remember.
Well, who are we, or what are people listening to?
What are people listening? We are the show. We are what makes the show.
Everyone
I've had other
right
guests
now,
though too, but anyhow.
Everyone right now is listening to the Vicis Interimo show, 30 Minutes to Kill, more or less. We're a horror movie review podcast featuring horror, suspense, psychological thrillers. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher and Podomatic. You know what? Just about anywhere. All you have to do is type in VICISINTERIMO, which is a really hard to spell name. Good job.
Thanks.
I am Lori. Wow. And I'm here with my lovely husband and co-host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones. And I don't call him any of those three things. Our show generally has 4 segments. First, Laid to Rest, where we tie up any loose ends from previous shows. Second, a short review of our featured movie. Today we're talking about Abattoir. And it's a good thing I said it, not you, because you keep saying it wrong. Third, we do Garbage In, Garbage Out, where we talk about any other movies, TV shows, or books we may have caught in the last week or so. What are you doing? Is that recording? Am I just talking to hear myself? Or... Stop laughing then. Our 4th segment is Crawling Chaos. That's a topic or a factoid we've never talked about before on the show. It could be anything, literally. We've talked about earthworms. We've talked about space exploration. We've talked about nature and all kinds of things. Actually, all those things were nature, weren't they? Yeah, the Crawling Chaos segment is sometimes silly, sometimes serious. But you know what? It's almost always chaotic.
So is your dramatic reading.
Oh, was I reading that dramatic?
I thought so.
Oh, I could do it. I could do it more dramatic.
They couldn't see your arms flailing around and everything else.
You want me to redo it? I
nope,
could do it even better.
I'm sure people are tired of listening. Have probably tuned out already.
I would like to propose to you now a 5th segment.
Uh-oh.
What do you think about our 5th segment being a spoiler segment?
Oh, I don't know. You know what? Let's get some input. If anybody wants to say anything, because there's a couple of things we need to talk about.
And we might not always, because then we would have to come up with I was going to say we'd have to come up with spoilers. I mean, we'd have to...
Do you think we're not touching on enough of the movie?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
So I guess that's why a spoiler segment sometimes would totally make sense. We did one, of course, when we discussed the movie Us.
Yeah.
Because we almost couldn't even do a movie review
without
spoiling something.
We couldn't talk about the things that we wanted to.
All we could do is talk about the acting and the scenery and the scare factor and like just super basics, which people have criticized us for in the past.
That was one time 10 years ago on...
That guy was a jerk.
On iTunes.
I don't care.
Right.
I don't forget.
And never forgive. Anyhow.
Never.
Okay.
Anyway, maybe we'll put that question out there then and see what people think of it.
All right. Well, we'll have something
4
else.
4 segments is probably all we should have.
We'll save that for Garbage In, Garbage Out, because there's maybe something else to talk about there, too.
All right.
All right. So, moving on then, let's listen for the gunshots, and we'll continue. Did we say this? Yeah, we did. Okay. Never mind.
I said everything.
You did. So, for Laid to Rest, the last episode that we recorded, well, that's not exactly true because we've recorded some in the meantime. We
People
just haven't
don't
put it
know
out
that.
yet. Anyhow, so...
don't give away our secrets. Do I need to take over this segment too?
Maybe.
I'm renaming
Us was the
this
last movie that we
show.
talked about.
Us.
Us, the movie Us.
Yeah.
How much we loved it. We did include a spoiler section, which we normally don't do. We talked about a few other things, tying up some old TV shows from our short topic that we had covered earlier about lost 90s TV shows or lost TV shows.
I thought of another one.
Okay, what is it?
So I have something to actually contribute to the Laid to Rest.
That's awesome.
And this is ridiculous, but you kind of when you put me on the spot, I can't think. So I was amazed I was actually able to come up with anything.
I'm not the partner you should have then on a podcast.
Well...
Because I'll throw you under the bus in a second. But anyhow, keep going. I've derailed you already.
Well, that's boring, though, if it's like, oh, so name 5 things that this or that. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I have trouble sometimes even understanding what you're asking me to do.
Okay, you thought of something.
Jeez. Yeah, hello, Alien Nation. That's my number 1. That is my number 1.
Yeah?
That's the first time I ever really became aware of, like, fandom outcry. I remember I signed petitions even to get Alien Nation to come back on the TV.
Okay.
And that was in the 90s.
Not Xena?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we were talking about forgotten shows anyhow. And
yeah, you said ones that were canceled.
Okay.
Canceled that should have never been.
Fair enough. So that's one that we...
Alien Nation, that show was
ended
great.
too soon.
At the time, that was, aside from Star Trek, because I'm all about the sci-fi, Alien Nation was a great show.
Gotcha.
It was so great. And I was going to comic book conventions way before anybody else I know these days. It was when you would literally go and they would be comic book I still call it comic book convention.
Yeah.
That's how old and dorky I am. You would go and it would be just no girls, really. A couple girls here and there, but just a bunch of guys flipping through comic books. That was it. But I was going to those when I was in high school and shortly after high school in the late 80s. And I remember, I don't remember what year it was that Alien Nation went off.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe...
No, keep going.
I was going to say maybe I'm not hitting your criteria for what I was supposed to be talking about.
Well, no, because again, we broadened it out to just TV shows
we just
and stuff
opened
in general.
it up.
So, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Because, yeah, I can't give you the year. But, yeah, I remember that is the very first time I ever heard, because this was pre-internet, all of that stuff. It was not the modern, communication era we live in now. So people were running around literally with pencils and paper, sign my petition, we're trying to get Alien Nation to stay on TV. I was no stranger to petitions back then, but it's like, wait, you can do this for TV shows? Who do you even... Like, it was such a foreign concept. Now everybody, freaks out when a show ends, the fandom screams out, and then another network picks them up, and a lot of things are getting saved. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for saving The Expanse. But yeah, back in those days, that's it. You'd have a bunch of people sign a sheet of paper and you'd mail it to the network and cross your fingers and they'd give you the finger
hope
and
that
would be it.
came out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a big one for me.
Okay.
That being said, they did do a couple movies to try to wrap it up. They were kind of bad though.
Okay.
Anyway, that's it.
There we go. All right. So yeah, you were right on target there because that was the 89 and 90s and stuff. That
Okay.
was early
I was having trouble telling you if it was the 80s or the 90s.
That's all right.
Okay.
So
Gosh, it was a great show.
It was a great show.
And you know what? And I wasn't even I had not even seen the movie. So a lot of people either loved the movie and thought the TV show was stupid, kind of like now. I mean, when books to movie to book, TV show to movie or whatever.
It's one of I
know how much people loved the movie.
Right.
That's why they made the TV show.
Right.
But I dropped in on the TV show night one when that thing piloted, and I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen.
Okay.
Aside from Star Trek.
All right. Well, I'm one of those people that thought there was room for both. I love the movie.
Yeah.
Mandy Patinkin and James Caan and stuff. That was great. But this is one of those times where the TV show I felt was able to not necessarily surpass or eclipse
I was
the
just
show.
going to say surpass.
But it was
because
able
it got
pick
to
it up
go
and-
so in depth.
Exactly.
I mean, it was,
But you know what? That's not what we're here to talk about.
Okay.
So thank you for getting to that.
So that's wrapped up, and
That's wrapped up. We
let's
put a nail in that one.
Anything else for laid to rest?
No.
Okay.
Because, the other shows that we covered, we did talk about Dean Koontz Hair, we talked about Umbrella Academy, and Once Upon a Time Season 7. So, and then our crawling cast was those floating islands in Norway. But
Okay.
that's a previous show. You could absolutely hear that. Go to, you can find us on, you told
All
them all
those
the
places I said earlier.
That's right, exactly.
Just
Abattoir.
Punch in that horrible long name that no one can
Let's
spell or pronounce.
talk about Abattoir.
10 years before I took over the ownership, there was a nasty home invasion.
Let's go!
A husband and wife killed.
In your house?
More specifically, in the hallway.
And the hallway was gone.
Half a dozen properties bought and sold over a 50-year span. Each one purchased.
After a tragic event occurred in the house.
Who buys a house and cuts the entire crime scene out of it?
Found this in the closing papers.
Jebediah Crone. The guy's a ghost collecting ghosts.
I'm getting too close to this one.
Are you willing to build this foundation on the bones of angels? Will you fall with me, children? Christ!
Jebediah Crone had been to hell, and he brought back with him some of his secrets.
You have no idea what this town was promised.
Please tell me what he's building.
You would brave a hell for your loved ones. I would construct one for mine.
So now, after we've heard the trailer for Abattoir, the synopsis here is...
I say we put out the question, too, if people want to keep
Well, I
hearing
was saving that
trailers.
for garbage in,
Horrible.
garbage out. But anyhow, an investigative reporter teams up with a police officer to solve the mystery of why a seemingly good man murdered his sister's family.
Okay.
So, first of all, let's just start with abattoir. The word abattoir. First thing I think is, actually no. First thing I think is, my God, is all of the English language come from the French language? The second thing I think, abattoir is, I picture something disgusting, slimy, just, it has a negative connotation right from the get-go.
Okay, so
When
is
you-
it the sound of the word?
No. Well, I mean,
Okay.
it's partly that, partly, okay, maybe a little bit of that, but for
Is
whatever
it a
reason,
little bit of it? Does it sound
conjures
like
that
in-
image of just a slimy, from beyond kind of gooey, messy thing, just disgusting. It just, for whatever reason. So that was just what popped in my head. When I saw that, I thought, oh, are we in for like a horror, like a splatter flick then? Whatever.
That's
that was just
interesting.
my initial thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
abattoir. But I mean, I know
What's the definition of an abattoir?
a slaughterhouse.
Okay.
It's a slaughterhouse. That's it. Did you have any association with
Does
the
it
name?
have anything else written?
That's it. It just literally says a slaughterhouse. I mean, it says, this is dictionary.com.
That's a fail. Bad
related-
job, dictionary.com.
Related words are butchery, shambles, stockyard. But anyhow.
Interesting.
Yeah, so did you have any associations with that? Or?
No.
No?
I mean, not like you
No
do.
negative. Okay, no strong association like that. And here's the other thing. I don't know about you. Well, I've been actually in a slaughterhouse, in a stockyard, in a slaughterhouse. I'm not sure who to blame for that, because even if I was the one that asked to go back there at the age of 10 or 11, why did they send me back there?
Right.
I'm still not a vegetarian, but that's probably pretty close to me making me one.
That'll do it.
That would probably do it. But anyhow, we're supposed to be talking about a movie.
Yeah.
The movie we're talking about
has nothing to do with animals and slaughterhouses.
Well,
not in the way that we're talking about.
Not in the way we're talking about it so far. Abattoir 2016. What did you think about the movie?
All I could do is go by my notes.
Right.
Because I have no idea. It's been a few weeks now.
Okay.
And unfortunately, enough of it didn't stick with me where I had to stretch a little bit, and I'm still actually trying to totally remember everything that was going on.
Really?
I did write a note here that I loved the story but hated how they did it.
So I was hoping you had a little bit more than that, only because...
Well, I've got a whole bunch of notes.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
I do.
Good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah,
because
well, that's why you take notes.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
Okay, it was rated R.
Yes. Soft R? I think it was a soft R.
Yeah, probably. Was there cussing? Was that
lots of language and stuff. I don't remember a lot of nudity. There was a certain amount of violence.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Oh, here. Okay. So we had the main girl, I guess, Julia. Mm-hmm. Grady was her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. I didn't like them as a couple. I didn't care for her too much, and he was just awful.
Yeah.
So I didn't care about them, and that's a problem for me.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I hated how they did it. I don't know. Obviously, I loved the story of the abattoir and what was going on there. We had a cult kind of thing going on. That's always great. We had Jebediah Crone, the old leader, that
right.
It definitely wasn't a cult like he's so charismatic and people just can't help but follow him. He would actually use like fear, and there was a lot of death and ugliness.
Dayton Callie, I believe is the name. I shouldn't be pronouncing names, but anyhow, you'd recognize him from Sons of Anarchy and several other things. But
he was great.
Great actor, absolutely.
I love him. I was happy to see him, and I was very happy to see Lin Shaye, because, of course, I love Lin Shaye.
Right.
If you've seen the Insidious movies, you will know her as Elise.
Sure.
She's finding herself in a lot of horror movies, and while Elise is a loving, wonderful person helping people, a lot of times in horror movies, Lin Shaye is not quite that person.
Not always that same person?
No.
Well, I'm glad that you said what you did, which was the bringing up how he controlled his followers. Or well, the reason because it sparked my remembering what my note here at Dagon was.
Okay.
I very much felt like a Dagon type situation. If you've seen the movie, if you know the H.P. Lovecraft short story.
I wrote here that this movie, I wrote Dagon, 13 Ghosts, and Ghost Ship.
Okay.
These were the three that... There was a particular part that I was like, oh man, this is going to be a ghost ship situation. The beginning of Ghost Ship. Okay. I don't want to give away too much or anything, because we don't have a fifth segment, that spoiler segment.
Is that what you'd be... See, I'd be worried you'd be saving everything for that segment.
Okay.
You wouldn't talk for the whole episode, and then at the end you'd just spill your guts. There's another movie that you reminded me of while we were talking, or while we were setting out, called Jack Goes Home.
Yeah.
Is that what
that was called?
Yeah. It had a lot of elements of other movies, but at this point I will say this is an adaptation from a comic book.
Yes.
And
I was going to bring that up because I wrote right here, and I circled it. If familiar with graphic novel and liked it, I'd maybe like this.
Okay. Would watching this make you want to seek the graphic novel?
I don't know.
For me, it would, because it was entertaining enough.
Well, because I feel like there was, obviously you can't fit a whole, I mean, I don't know how large of a graphic novel it is, but this, I did feel like there were holes.
Right.
And I needed more information.
Right.
So, maybe to really like the movie, in your mind, if you were already familiar with the graphic novel and all of the holes were already filled in, then it kind of makes sense.
Right. You would just get the high points.
People who I've talked to who have never read the Harry Potter books, but they watch the movies, some things are like, how'd they get from here to here, or what happened here? It's like, oh, well, you remember when this happened. Oh, you didn't read the book. You don't have... You just automatically...
You can feel those missing pieces as you're watching.
You don't notice a movie's shortcomings if you've already got the whole entire story in your head. Because, your brain, you're just kind of... You don't even have to think about it. You know how they got there. You know why this is happening.
Okay. So that explains my very first note with regards to this movie, which is it's too fast and too much pushed in there.
Okay.
So it's one of those things.
We didn't even really talk about what the story, what's happening.
What the meat of the story is?
Yeah, I'd be really annoyed with us right now.
Okay. Well, I don't want you to be annoyed with us, or anybody else for that matter.
The listeners now are ready to shut us off.
So here, I'm going to just steal this directly from IMDb. An investigative reporter works to solve the mystery behind a mysterious man who's been buying houses where tragedies have occurred. I'm going to leave it at that because there's definitely goes on to say a lot more. But this,
I think we could talk a little bit more about that because that is absolutely the most interesting thing about this. Is the abattoir is actually they're talking about a structure.
Yeah.
And that is the most interesting and cool. That's why I said I love the story.
Yeah.
Because, well, we can at least just say he's buying the houses, and then...
So here's the thing. I don't mean to cut you off, but I almost feel like we might as well talk about it because it's in their promotional material.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with that.
For us watching it the first time, not knowing anything about it, it was almost frustrating. So we'll just say this guy is building a haunted house one room at a time.
We'll jump right ahead.
I just did. And I don't think it's a spoiler because
Tell us about the house. I was going to just mention, he's not just buying houses. Yeah, then what happens?
And then he rips out the room that the tragedy occurred.
Yes.
So
if somebody was murdered in the bathroom, he's going to buy the house and he's going to remove the walls, the floors, the ceiling, whatever. He's going to take that bathroom and move it out of the house.
Someplace else.
So yes, anyone collecting that sort of thing, something's
up. What's going on? And therein lies the mystery. If you're familiar at all, we've talked about this before about stone tape theory. The idea that where a tragedy occurs, it leaves an imprint on that place.
Right.
And so it has a lot to do with that. So we start getting into these areas, and that's where I want to see more. I want to know. And the movie eventually gets there, but getting there
it takes a while.
It takes, boy, that big sigh. Yeah, it takes a while to get there. Can you recommend this?
Oh, are we done?
Go ahead, if you had more to say, but I mean, I'm just throwing that question out now. Is this a movie you recommend? Because
I think I would with caution.
Okay.
Because again, it took a while to get to the really cool stuff. I didn't care for the girl or her boyfriend.
Right.
I was confused because the girl. We watched some of the
making of.
Yeah, the making of stuff, and so I was like, oh, okay. It didn't come across in the movie, really, but the girl is into vintage stuff. So when we were watching it, I thought, is this the 1940s? Is this the 50s? I couldn't tell because her boyfriend is a policeman or whatever. I guess they were calling him detective. The way he looked, he didn't look. He had a hat and everything, kind of. a little noirish, but then she was dressed like she was in the 40s or 50s, but then all of a sudden she's at her sister's house and it's just normal, like now.
Right. So
I was so confused.
This speaks to kind of what you were talking about with the adaptation or the translation from one to the other.
Yeah.
Certain subtleties get missed if you're not familiar with the material.
Right. And it would have just taken, even if it was showing her in her office and she bumped into somebody and they commented on her
like,
cute.
oh, you're back from the thrift store again? Or, I don't know, something. Just a line, just something.
Well, I was going to say, no, that wouldn't translate into... something like, oh my gosh, I love your, a new dress, or, it would have to be two girls talking, because then sexual harassment, right?
Yeah, okay.
But even just chit-chatting, or even when she was in her sister's house, her sister could have said something, like, though her sister would be used to seeing her, maybe someone comments on her cute dress or shoes or something, and she's like, oh yeah, I love the vintage style, and I, just give me something, because I wanted to enjoy the movie, and I'm sitting here worrying about what year it is. I don't know.
Okay.
And it's dumb. And that's the kind of stuff that annoys me and makes me not be able to enjoy the movie. I guess, again, love the story, hated how they did it. Maybe.
Okay.
And then her boyfriend was kind of I was going to swear, he was kind of a jerk. He was a little bit... just abusive in the way he talked to her and stuff. He was irritating.
Certain things were off-putting about him.
I thought, what is her damage and where's her self-esteem that she's hanging out with this clown?
Right.
And so
we're so judgy.
That's fine. I don't like him. I don't like people like that. I was waiting for him to be a villain.
Okay.
Maybe he was.
Maybe he was by the end of it, but yeah.
So I had I wrote my pros and cons, and the cons was the boyfriend. I wrote kind of bad writing, like the dialogue.
Okay.
It was a rough first half.
Yeah.
3/4.
Yeah.
2/3?
2/3.
Whatever. I wrote that I was annoyed with the sideways phone on the dashboard. This is so stupid.
Well, see, that's it. If a movie has drawn you
like that
in...
were annoying me.
Right. If a movie has drawn you in, you don't notice that, or...
Right.
If there's enough.
And
but if you're stopping to see...
It was such a good story.
Have we watched too many movies that were distracted by that stuff? Or is it just poor quality on
But
something?
I at least had... The pros were Lynn Shay was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting story. The sets... I think I meant the abattoir itself, the rooms and things. And I wrote, they tried. Creative lighting, shadows, camera angles, all of that stuff was really well done. You could tell this movie was important to them.
Right.
And that they were trying really hard. They were really successful in a lot of areas. So that made these other annoying things stick out as being very amateurish, maybe?
Okay. Well, it was another one of those times that it was interesting.
I'm sorry if you're listening. I'm sorry. Dang it.
That never happens except for when it does. That somebody that was involved in the movie actually listens. Uh-oh, did you come across another note? Look on your face.
Maybe. Oh, no.
Well, I was just going to say. Go ahead.
It's funny going back and look, because I write these notes, I scribble these notes in the dark, and then I stick them here next to my chair, and I don't look at them again until we're doing this.
Right.
I wrote that the villain and the sets in the house make up for everything that I hated. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote, I wish Julia wouldn't talk, though. Like she was ruining the end for me.
Harsh.
And so I wrote, there's a weird dissonance for me.
Okay.
Because it was like, oh my gosh, this is getting so cool.
Yeah.
This awesome house and the way it looked, it was so good. And he was such a good villain. It was so good. And then the girl would talk and do stuff, and it was like, no! You're ruining it.
Well, the point I was starting to say before you came across that note was, this is another one that while watching the making of, and I mean, I get people doing something that they love. We do this, and so I feel bad when people would criticize us, but whatever, I'm open to it, that's fine. So I hate criticizing people doing what they love, but this is another one, much like the Vatican tapes.
Yeah.
Where they talked about what the beats they were trying to hit in the movie, the goals that they had. No, I don't think they did.
Oh, not in that one or this one?
Not in that one or this one. There were specific things that they attempted to do.
Well, you know what?
Only when they explained it in the making of, and not everybody's going to watch the making of.
Right.
Do you hear and you go, oh, that's what they were trying to get. Now, am I thick? Maybe. Maybe I just didn't get it. You know, okay. Thick. But, like...
We'll see.
Specifically with those two, with the Vatican tape and with...
this one, though, they talked a lot about the abattoir itself, the structure, the rooms, what they wanted to convey there, and I think they did that.
Oh, yeah, in those. But I'm talking about some other subtler
I don't know the
parts.
stuff that led up to it. What happened?
Yeah, it was.
And I feel bad. I don't want, because I think the actress absolutely did what she was asked to do, and I know how excited and happy she was to be in this. So I feel like a total schmuck right now. But there was something just
Jessica Loudon's, I think, was the.
Oh, don't call her out. Don't.
Okay. Well, we loved that she was doing this.
Okay.
Excited about doing this.
Yeah, I liked hearing that she...
Yeah.
But seeing that was the thing, too, when she was talking about her character in the movie, she said, oh, I play Julia, she's, really into vintage stuff and likes to...
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad the actors had to come on and tell me that, because in the movie, I didn't know what the heck was happening.
So are we going to blame it on the writer or the screenplay? We're going to write...
Yeah, it's not her fault, and it's not... So, yeah, something just didn't translate.
Disconnect. Okay.
There was things they wanted to do. This is what we're doing. It's going to be great. Here it is. It's like, well, where's the stuff you talked about? You forgot to do it.
Yeah.
They put a ton of effort into the visuals and how awesome all that stuff looked. And it looked so great. And I loved it.
The last third was spot on. But
except for that poor girl delivering her lines. Okay. I actually wrote, I wish she wouldn't talk.
So, moving on then.
I wrote Julia, though, her character.
Yeah, the character.
No, I'm sorry.
That's
She's a lovely actress. I would love to see her in more stuff.
Right.
I'm sad that this didn't, and I'm sure there's people that loved this, that thought it was the best ever.
Right.
I wanted to love it, and I just...
Moving on. What's your number?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one.
I'm going to give it a 3.
They filmed in New Orleans.
I'm going to say I liked it.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
You're giving it what now?
A 3.
Okay.
And I recommend...
Can I give parts of it 1s and parts of it 5s?
Well, we'll even it out to a 3 and there. Yeah.
And you know what? I wrote with stars around it because this was absolutely the high point and the most great. They get 5 stars, they get 10 stars, they get 100 gold stars for the production design and the cinematography.
Okay.
It was
some
stellar.
Folks, that's going to be worth just seeing for that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great.
All right. Well, with that in mind, let's move on to garbage in, garbage out. Not a whole lot to talk about for garbage in, garbage out because we spent the weeks since watching this movie powering through Doom Patrol.
Right.
We've been binging Doom Patrol. That is, we binged until we caught up with it.
There wasn't that many. I mean, how many were there?
Well, we had watched the first 8 or 9 of them before I had to start.
Were there 10?
Now we're going to watch number 10
11?
Later on tonight.
Okay.
With Game of Thrones, I think.
Okay.
But anyhow, Doom Patrol. What do you think about Doom Patrol?
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I lumped it in with Umbrella Academy, partially because Doom Patrol inspired Umbrella Academy, portions of it anyhow, because he worked on it when he's also working on Doom Patrol.
Who's he?
Now. I was afraid you were going to ask me that. The actor from My Chemical Romance.
Oh, yes, that guy.
The actor, the singer.
The singer. Yeah, he created the Umbrella Academy graphic novel comic. Graphic novel. So he worked on Doom Patrol, too.
Right. Doom Patrol, however, is a hard R.
Yes.
For language. some sexual situations. If you can get past the flatulent donkeys and the cockroaches with delusions of grandeur, you're in for quite a show. You had brought up, and it's actually something else we're starting to watch too again, was American Gods. It has that same eclectic sensibilities, I guess. But if you stick with it, I think you're going to find something that you really enjoy.
For which one?
For Doom Patrol. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, it's...
For DC and
it's
like for me,
entertaining enough for me. Yeah, it is a DC.
For me, for DC, it's hitting out of the park as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
With the exception of Batman, which is in the universe.
But yeah, unfortunately, I don't... I mean, Rita, I kind of care about.
Right.
Because she was an awful person, and she's actually changing and starting to care about people, and I always like to see selfish people turn around and start making sacrifices. But yeah, I don't really care about anybody on there. So it's just for me, it's a popcorn TV show for me.
Okay.
It's just to see what they're going to do next.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any...
You have no attachment to any of the specific characters?
Not really.
Even though Cliff is a robot? And
He's not a robot. He's an
cyborg?
Irritating person stuck in a metal body.
Okay.
Yeah.
With an underbite?
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow, enough about that.
I don't know. It just, I mean, it's absolutely doing what it's setting out to do. Mm-hmm. I think.
Okay. So
yeah, I've read I've gotten on the forums and I've seen what other people love about it and stuff, and it's purely entertainment type comments. I mean, they're not into the characters or where is that character going? Are they going to be okay in life? Or it's just strictly...
Maybe we worry too much about those things, though.
Well, I can't help it, though.
That's what we do.
But I'm not saying I don't like it, though. You heard me say it's a fun popcorn TV show for me. That's all it is.
All right.
If we never watched it ever again, I'd be fine. If it were on right now, I would sit and watch it.
Okay.
If it gets canceled, I don't care.
Oh, harsh. I like it better than that.
No,
but okay. I got you.
No, see, you're... No.
I got you. Moving on.
So you're dying to see then what more?
I am anxious to see, yeah. Because I want to see how it wraps up. And
you know what? There's so much stuff to... Like, I'm overwhelmed with... There's so much stinking stuff to watch.
Yeah.
That some stuff you gotta just not care. If I cared that much about everything... Oh, man. I'd be what my parents always said I was when I was a child.
A TV bug.
Because, boy, I loved TV.
I got you.
Oh, yeah. It was my best friend in life. Luckily, I had borders I was not allowed to cross. But yeah, no, I'm not saying I don't like it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
What you don't like,
yeah,
if I'm understanding you correctly,
is
you're thinking that we maybe should poll the audience and see whether we get rid of the trailers during the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah? You're not a fan of those?
I don't like listening to trailers without the visual. They're just noise to my ears.
Okay. I think it's there to set the stage for those that maybe haven't seen it or are only marginally familiar with it.
What about the people like me out there, though, that are just irritated?
I think you are the minority, if at all. I do. I'm curious to see.
But what about even if I'm 5 or 10% of people that don't like to hear that and are going to shut it off, then those people are gone.
I don't know. Does majority rule?
Are you only podcasting for the people that love to hear a trailer in their podcast?
I'm only podcasting for people that love to hear podcasts.
Yes, but do they love to hear trailers?
We'll have to ask them and see.
Because, I was listening to the Mo Kelly show the other night, and I wanted to hear what they were talking about, because they were talking about the Avenger movies and all that. And when he put the trailer on, and it just sounded like a bunch of people screaming and explosions and things that I shut it off. Just that quick.
Okay.
Maybe it's just my pet peeve.
Maybe
I don't know.
So. I'm curious to hear what other people have to say.
It just rubs me the wrong way because I don't. It's just I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
It probably depends on the trailer. Horror trailers a lot of time is just scary music and screaming.
And a lot of times there's just words on the screen that you actually need to read.
So how is that helping people?
I don't know. That's something that we maybe need to examine in the future.
So please, everybody out there, let us know.
Yes.
So are you going to put a poll on
I'll
in
put
the
a
group?
poll on, or I'll maybe let you do it so I don't misspell anything.
Okay, I don't know how to do polls on there.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, but if people don't want to deal with that, they can just drop us a line and...
Sure, you can contact me at Matt Saxon,
right.
MADSAXXON at yahoo.com. You can make a comment in the group.
Yeah.
Best place to see anything to do with
Wherever.
us. You can even talk to us on Twitter.
You could write lose the trailer or yay, thumbs up for trailers.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's your tags.
I
Hashtag thumbs up for trailers.
No, don't do that. Thumbs up for trailers.
I'll have to do a search for that and see what I get. Thumbs up for... Who knows what I'll get.
Trailer
Anyhow,
parks.
Moving right along...
Let's see some of our friends and family's houses.
Oh, that's true. Anyhow, Crawling Chaos. What have you got for us?
Whatever it is you have.
All right. So, let's talk about how difficult that can be. How difficult that can be? Well, this is practically a Sisyphean task.
Okay.
Sisyphus.
Is this why you asked me the other day how to spell Sisyphus?
This is part of the reason why I asked you how to spell Sisyphus. This has to do with a different project that I'm working on also.
Okay.
But somebody gave me a Sisyphean task to try to perform.
Okay.
And I thought, I should actually look that up, see how it's spelled, see what the derivation of that is. I know what it means to me. And most people...
Derivation?
Yeah. What it's derived from.
Okay.
I don't know. I probably shouldn't use words I don't know how to spell. Well, that'd cut my voice.
You'd have to quit talking. Either
That's
that or
nice.
they better find a cure for dyslexia. Do they have a pill for that?
There's no pill for that. Moving on and getting back on track.
Well, now you have to tell people who Sisyphus
exactly.
is
Sisyphus
and what a
was
Sisyphean task would be.
Which do you want first?
Who
Sisyphus was? He was a cruel Greek king that had to suffer the punishment of pushing a rock up a steep hill only to have it roll back down to the bottom to start all over again for eternity. So a Sisyphean task would be a virtually impossible or an impossible futile task.
Right.
That
would take a real long time.
That would take forever.
And never end.
It would seem like eternity, for sure.
Wow, somebody tasked you with something like that?
Well, sort of. I don't want to get into the whole Magic the Gathering thing, but somebody asked me to pick my favorite deck, basically. So that was... I know that sounds stupid, but... Hey, for me...
Sisyphus should have it that easy. Jeez.
Yeah, you did say crawling castles were anything and sometimes ridiculous, right?
So
Sisyphus. That was just it. Sisyphus.
Oh, okay.
That was it. That was
just...
Yeah. If somebody says they're dealing with a Sisyphean task, you know that they're talking about something that is hard, arduous, and tedious.
It's pretty futile. Because what was he supposed to... Was he supposed to get to the top of the hill?
No, never. He was being punished for...
It was just a never-ending hill?
Never-ending. That was it. It was always going to roll back down to the bottom, and he was going to have to push that immense boulder
forever
all the way up to the top.
Ever.
Forever. Exactly. Yeah. Part of this, though, comes from... Actually, from Doom Patrol. Because... There was a comment that was made in Doom Patrol where, I'm not going to say only you and I got it, but it went by so quick.
I was going to say, there's a lot of comments in there. That's why I said it's very entertaining to watch.
Sure. And so they made a comment, and I didn't write it down here and stuff. But what did they say? Oh, they said it was a Grey Gardens situation.
Yes.
Or something. And then if you didn't know what that was, like you would completely, it would have flown over the radar, like it would have sounded like gibberish or whatever and stuff. If you've seen the film, the documentary Grey Gardens, and you know that it's a movie about the Kennedys.
Yeah, some
relations.
Some relations
of the Kennedys. Then you would know and you would get it, and like suddenly that that situation, it would make more sense and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I wish I caught more things like that. I mean, I wish there were more things like there to catch.
Right.
And I wish I got them all, because I'm sure that a lot of things go way over my head.
Yeah.
But that one particular didn't, and it just stood out, and it got us talking on a subject or whatever. It's just our weird topics or whatever. But anyhow, somebody said...
Well, it makes me appreciate, because then I think, okay, this thing's got good writers, because they're well-rounded and they know a lot of stuff.
Sure.
For lack of better,
exactly.
You know, not just pop culture stuff, but a little bit of history and a little bit of everything.
Right.
And yeah, that was a good comment, because not everybody knows the Grey Gardens.
Exactly.
And
and somebody, I'm not even sure if somebody used the Sisyphean task or whatever. That just popped into my head to describe something that I was trying to do, and a lot of people maybe don't know that. So we try.
There's some
we
good
try
writing
to
in there.
try to get educated
and
here.
then that's the thing also with Doom Patrol, because those are the things I love about Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of really good dialogue and a lot of little I find myself laughing at a lot of little things, but then there's just the total stupid lowbrow stuff too that I don't like. So there's
balanced.
So there's something for everyone.
There's something for everybody in it for sure.
You know, and if I mean, I think you could appreciate it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say no matter who
on
you
all
are,
levels.
that's not true.
Well, on most
it
levels.
has a lot of the cussing. Almost obviously,
It's almost to the level of Deadwood, without the reasons. Think about swearing and
yeah, I was trying to think of how to say, because I wanted to say, swearing doesn't bother me. It does to a certain point if it's there for no reason.
Right.
But like this group of people just
dropping F-bombs left and right.
I would like to count how many times they say it and and it's there for absolutely no reason.
Okay.
It's an exclamation. It's in sentences when they talk.
It's the universal adjective.
It is in this, for sure. And yeah, some people talk like that, for sure. But, I'm not a total square, and I'm not like, you shouldn't, I don't want to hear that. But it gets to a certain point where when you become aware of it, that's all you're hearing.
Right.
Then it makes you
when
think...
it starts to stand out, that's the only...
Yeah, it really stands out. But then there's the
Grey Garden references and stuff.
So it's like, dang it. It's kind of this crazy... It's written very smart and funny. It's witty. It's got great references in there that a lot of people would not catch. Those are all the things I love in shows and movies. But then it has the stuff that just kind of grates on me.
The Beavis and Butthead type humor, or
and the characters are all very different.
Yes,
there's smart characters and there's total ding dongs. Cliff.
He's trying to make that change too.
Yeah, he is.
So maybe by the end of it.
It's kind of a
But that's not what we're supposed to be talking about. Sisyphus was
how
it.
Get back on that. You brought it up. You brought up Doom Patrol again.
All right, my mistake.
But bringing it up.
Anyhow, before we end, we always like to thank somewhere in the show our patrons at Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Gold to Fish. And to tell folks the next couple episodes coming out, we're looking at Pet Cemetery, which has already partially been recorded.
Yeah.
And then...
Must have been an on-the-road episode.
And The Town That's Dreaded Sundown. I think that's one of the other movies coming up here.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Having said all that...
Where do people go if they're interested in becoming a patron?
They can go to Patreon and pledge anything from $1 on up there. $1, $3, $5, whatever you like.
50 cents?
Well, I don't think it goes that low. I think $1 is probably the lowest. But you can make a PayPal payment of 50 cents if you want to. I think you're getting your money's worth in that case.
Sure.
Our patrons are actually allowing, encouraging, or helping. I have a class coming up here. Did I mention that already? I think I may have mentioned that already.
I don't know.
Taking an improv class to help improve my performance, both on Tybalt's Apprentice, and for this podcast, and just everything in general.
Well, now you have to say what Tybalt's Apprentice is.
Oh, that's the magic thing that I'm filming at the.
And is that's a new YouTube channel?
It'll be a YouTube channel. It'll have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page also.
Okay,
but
and that's for people who play Magic the Gathering. For people who play
Magic the Gathering, just kitchen top things, not competitive or whatever.
Right.
That we cover a whole range of topics.
Friendly games.
Casual friendly games, more serious games.
That's what you want to call them.
Indeed. Anyhow, but enough about that. That's, we'll talk more about that later. And we are still going to be doing our Das Boot episode. Das Boot.
That's what you say.
That's what I say. All right. You can...
we already did that.
Tune in next week.
Let's wrap it up. Okay.
Let's say that we killed it.
Yeah. Kill it.